In the thrilling debut novel Monstre, author Duncan Swan crafts a relentless, terrifying, genre-bending tale of courage, desperation, and redemption that shows just how fragile our civilization is and how far we'll go to survive.
Welcome. Make yourself comfortable, won't you? I want to tell you a story.
Greetings, invaders. My name is Scott. This is Book Invasion. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about a beautiful self-published horror novel called Monstre by Duncan Swan. The author was kind enough to send me a signed copy. It got a little beat up in the mail, but it is still gorgeous with black sprayed edges and some awesome bookmarks. Ta-da! So Monstre is Duncan Swan's debut novel. It's volume 1 of who knows how many volumes. But it tells the story of a kind of nuclear fallout that happens at CERN, which is the European Nuclear Research Facility, which is a real place, and the Large Hadron Collider, which also is a real thing, and some testing and things that go wrong with that, which unleashes this immense black cloud that kind of erupts and just starts slowly engulfing the planet, essentially. And the people who are in the cloud, the sun goes out, things start to get bleak, ash and covering the sky, thunderstorms and lightning, very, very frightening. So the summary on the back of the book talks about day 0 and day 89. So day 0, it goes about the experiment gone wrong, and toxic smoke and ash pours into the sky. And then the group of Marines that are sent into Europe to kind of stop the spread of this cloud. And then it skips on to day 89, which is the next kind of chapter in the book, which talks about the cloud reaching the east coast of the U.S. So obviously they didn't stop it. Something went wrong. Something happened. There's the courage, the heroism. At what point do you kind of just give up after things are so bleak and the world is ending? What drives humans to endure those type of situations? So the story tells the tale about a sheriff who agrees to, secure one of his deputies' family on a journey across country to go to this bunker that may just be their only chance for survival, but they don't know. So the book alternates between the fallouts, what happened to cause it, as well as what happens 90 days in the future, up to day 104, and the quest that the people are going to, getting the Marines to be sent out to the site, but all the while telling the tale of people 90 days later fleeing from the cloud and having it slowly engulf their part of the world. So the feelings of this book are really kind of that. It has a lot of action. It's very much, I felt like, a bit of like the Starship Troopers, like the gung-ho, hoorah Marines that are out there just to kill themselves some aliens, because they kind of have an idea of what's lurking in the dark, but they're not quite sure. So they all gear up and they're gung-ho about it. And it also is like a little bit like Pitch Black, where there's these monsters and it's dark and you kind of figure out how they see and how they and get them on their turf with some technology and tactics and things like that. It reminded me too when later in the book where they're gearing up to fight, kind of like StarCraft, where the Terrans versus the Zerg. It has that kind of feel to it. It was where even a little bit I felt like a little bit of Jurassic Park at a point where they're traveling in the dark through under the cloud, and they start to hear things, and it almost felt like the scene where they see the cup of water move. They hear the sounds that these things make, so they know they're out there. So it had a bit of a Jurassic Park feel in there with these monsters that are lurking in the darkness. So it's very action packed. It read like a cinematic blockbuster, kind of like all of those references. It has a lot of action. Obviously, when you're talking about these characters in here, there's characters that are Marine soldiers. There's characters in here that are like ex-convicts and the people that they are working for, essentially. And then there's kind of the sheriff, the old-timey sheriff, and then the young deputy with the family. And how all three of those stories intersect here. So yeah, it's a lot of surface level action and character-driven stories where you realize the motives of these characters and what they're really in it for. When push comes to shove and you're put in a situation where everybody's about to die, who comes through on their moral compass and who doesn't. It's very much too like a bit like season 1 of The Walking Dead. You know, who do you protect? Who do you trust? When you get and meet new people, you're always on edge. Like, are they really a nice person? Or are they really just kind of gonna kill us all for our supplies? There's a bit of that feel to it as well. So all in all, I really enjoyed the book. I read it. It took me too long to read it, and I feel like if I would have read it in one fell swoop, I could have just sat down and got sucked into all of this. Page 53, ouch, somebody's dead there. So there's a lot of death in here, but I feel like at the end of this book, man, like I was reading it on my Kindle and it said it had 95% done. The way it ended was just like, whoa, man, you know, you gotta, I laughed and I was like, geez, you got me. Duncan Swan, you got me on that ending. Because I thought the rest of the book was the next chapter, but it's really a preview for the next volume 2, and it goes on a different period, a different timeline. So yes, there's a character in the book named Clay, who I think is my favorite character in here, because, you know, you think I won't tell you, but once you read it, you'll get a feel for these characters: Trace, Sarah, Clay. There's Cass, and there's Coulter. So I feel like if you're wanting a good action-packed sci-fi horror book that's reminiscent of Jurassic Park, Pitch Black, Starship Troopers with a little bit of like Walking Dead in it, all of those things kind of mishmashed together with a really awesome way to alternate the timelines. There's a cliffhanger kind of at the end of every chapter, so you always want to get sucked in. And the way the characters intersect and their paths kind of cross towards the end of the book. And then the ending is just such, it was very well done. I laughed out loud and I applauded. I said, I was just reading on my Kindle and I put it down. And I was like, no way, you got me. That was awesome. Anyway, that is my review on Duncan Swan's Monstre. Go check it out. I think you'll like it if you want just a fun action romp that's going to suck you in with a bit of sci-fi, monstrous elements, some horror, some gore, some death, all that good stuff. Check out Monstre. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.